Coming to you from Farmer Dave's Kitchen here in Drake, Massachusetts, I'm Stacey.
And I'm Denise.
And we're here to help you prepare your share. In this Vegisode, we're concentrating on the vegetable broth. The principle would be similar for chicken or beef stock. The simmer time would just be much longer and on low and slow as far as the setting goes.
Okay.
You could do it on the stovetop or on the crock pot. You're coaxing out as much collagen and gelatin out of the bones.
So the bones is where the flavor's coming from for this?
You're getting the flavor from the bones, and you're also getting the collagen and the gelatin out of the bones by doing it low and slow. So you're also getting the flavor, but you're getting the body. So when you taste a stock versus a broth is usually thinner and it's much lighter, and I don't know, it's kind of like drinking tea.
Okay.
Where when you go to drink a stock, it has a different mouthfeel to it. It's just a little bit heartier.
Okay.
Is what it winds up being.
I didn't know the difference. Now I do. So veggie broth is, in comparison, quicker, and you're using up your scraps from chopping and preparing your share anyway. So we both keep a bowl. I do this now too. Keep a bowl handy for those sessions to corral all the scraps. So it doesn't matter how ugly the cuttings are, as long as you're clean. That's the most important part. So it's all that flavor in a bowl all at once.
And that's like a bowl that I would leave out for myself, and as I'm cutting, I throw them in that.
Right.
So if you're not going to be using the cuttings right away, store them in one of our RPBs, resealable plastic bag, in the freezer. They'll be ready and waiting for you. The texture problem that may happen if you're going to freeze something right away for vegetables that you're going to eat, you may not want to just pop them in the freezer before blanching. But for this, it doesn't matter because you're basically going to put them in water and boil the life out of them anyway.
Right.
So that's not an issue here at all.
Toss them in there.
I normally have multiple bags going in the freezer, and I either do, I started doing where I mix different vegetables, so I have like a whole mix in one bag.
Right.
But that was just becoming labor intensive, and yeah, it's busy. So I have a bag of carrot tops, or onions are in another bag, and I just have bags like that. And then when I go to make my stock, I just grab a handful from each bag.
That works.
This basically makes your stock taste even. So it's balanced. So you don't have all the onions, you don't have all the greens, you don't have, so you just have a nice mix of everything.
I like it. So suggested veggie scraps for stock. So here we go. We're going to give you a quick list here. So onion scraps and skins. Yes, skins. We'll explain that in a little more detail. Scraps of ginger, garlic, carrot ends, and tops. So even the greens from the carrots, you want to save these. Celery, celeriac trimmings if the celeriac was scrubbed well. And Stacey has a little something she's going to show us here.
So this is the celeriac that I really went in with a vegetable brush. There is really no dirt left on this.
Clean the heck out of that.
Okay, so what we mean by the skins, you're going to go in and cut the top and bottom off. This way. Now it's not going to go anywhere on you. Then go down with your knife, and just like you're trimming a pineapple, you're getting just that top layer off all the way around.
Nice.
Do not throw these out. I went and made a celeriac, onion, and apple soup. But what I did is I took the veggie stock, because I had used a box stock that day. This was Thanksgiving. And I put these in the box stock on the stove and just let them simmer. So the flavor of the celeriac went into the stock, and then it made that soup even more celery flavor.
I can imagine.
Which was really good. So don't throw these away. Throw these in the freezer bag, just like you do the other things. And that'll add a whole lot of flavor right to your...
other level. That's really neat.
Now, the other things are the tops of leeks and the fresh onions.
Okay.
Save those. You may not use them entirely, especially the tougher tops.
Yeah.
Chop them off, put them in the freezer bag, and that's going to add a nice onion flavor without necessarily having to cut up an onion.
That's great.
Fennel and fennel fronds, same thing. Any of the cuttings, when you cut the bottom off the fennel, cut the fronds, put them in a bag.
Save it.
Really, I mean, a nice light flavor. It's like it's an anise flavor, so it's a nice light flavor to the soup.
Oh, and it smells so good.
I know. Mushrooms and mushroom stems, another great one. If you wind up eating the mushrooms, pop off those stems and save the stems. The stems really give it a nice, deep, earthy flavor for like a heavier soup. Tomatoes, when you go and clean your tomatoes and you cut out that top stem area, there's a lot of flavor in that. Toss those in the bag too. Herbs. Right now we have some sage and some cilantro. The stems are perfect. Or if your herbs are just starting to get really wilty and you know you're not going to use them, pop them in the freezer bag and then they can go. This sage, thyme, rosemary. If you wind up using the actual leaves, save the stems. The stems still have a lot of flavor in them, and then you can cut them up and pop those in the stock to simmer as well.
I love this.
So you're using all the scraps. Oh, and these are...
Please explain what that is.
I used a rubber ice cube tray, a big one, and these are just whatever leftover herbs that I had, stems, you name it, I put it through. I have a little food processor that I leave on my counter. Okay. And I popped an even amount of each thing into them. Doesn't that smell incredible?
Yes.
It's the nubs of the garlic, it's the nubs of ginger, whatever it is, maybe some spicy peppers, and I add a little bit of olive oil, just enough to make a paste, pack it in there and freeze it. And when I pop it out, that's what I have. So I wind up using that in stocks. I also use it when I make soups or chilies or anything like that because that's really a flavor bomb.
That is genius.
You know, so it's just, and you're using everything.
Everything, literally everything.
Everything.
I love it. All right, so simmering in water with a handful of spices, peppercorns, bay leaf, salt, and pepper make a very flavorful stock. Go easy on your salt. That way it gives you more flexibility later on if you end up adding other ingredients that might be a little heavier on the salt side. If you're using the broth, for example, in a dish with other ingredients, just want to make sure that that's all balanced.
That way you don't wind up with it being over-seasoned.
Yes.
So if you're going to use your stock, one of my favorite soups when I get sick is like a spicy Asian chicken soup.
Yes.
And I'll use the stock and I'll have chicken in it, obviously, some red pepper flake or a chili.
Right.
I might throw in some cilantro, but I usually will finish it with some tamari or if I do some red chili paste,
right,
I have, like the sambal, that has salt in it already. So if you've already salted your stock, you know, you run the risk of it being over seasoned. You could always water it down if you wanted to a little bit, but I just keep it on
easier to add at the end.
Easier to add at the end, definitely.
Definitely.
Now, something that I do avoid is I avoid any of the brassicas, the broccoli, the cabbage, and the cauliflower.
Okay.
They have a very, very, and even the Brussels sprouts, they have a very strong taste. And that will completely take over the stock, so the broth. Actually, you're not going to get the nuances of all the other vegetables. It's just all of it at once. Now, if you're going to use that broth for, let's say, a broccoli soup, for a cauliflower soup,
sure,
it's just like the celeriac. It's going to add to the flavor of it.
Right.
So if you want to save those bits and pieces, go ahead. I just would use it for a specific purpose, so it doesn't drown everything else out. Same thing with asparagus. Asparagus is just, when you simmer that, that's what you're going to taste. But if you're making an asparagus soup, then it's perfectly good.
Right. It'll add the base notes to the whole soup.
Correct.
So, great tips. Great tips. So, as you can see, our veggies are clean, chopped to a similar size.
Which pretty much these are. They're going to be simmering, so I don't think you have to be crazy about this part.
Right, we're simmering them. We're not cooking them to eat the vegetables.
Correct.
We're flavoring.
Right.
Okay. So, and again, this is going to ensure that your stock has a very balanced flavor.
Correct.
All right. Perfect. So the veggies that we added to the soup pot, add water to a depth of 3 inches over the veggies. So let's actually take a look at that.
We're going to take a pot. Oh, we should show them one of the done ones, actually.
Okay. Let's do that.
So we have this. We have 2 that have been simmering. Slide that over so we don't get it wet.
Okay, this is again where you wish you had smell-o-vision.
I think that smell is really the celeriac that's really bumping it up.
Wow.
Totally bumping it up.
Once we have added our spices, we're gonna cover, bring to a boil, then reduce it down to a simmer. Approximately about an hour, stirring every so often. So you were saying that really only needs that amount of time.
You could go as long as 2 hours, but once you get past an hour to an hour and a half, the veggies have pretty much, on the stovetop now, the veggies have pretty much given up all the flavor that they're going to give. But if you leave it on there with the cover on it, it's not going to evaporate too much. So if you're doing things around the house and you forget that it's on there, it's not a panic. It's just you're not going to, that's the max that you're going to get at this point.
Good to know.
So you can see the vegetables and how much stock is in here. So it's just over the top while we were simmering.
Right. It's the color.
It's nice and deep, and that's...
If you'd like to enhance the flavors of this particular dish a little bit more, the broth, remove the lid. Give it another 15 to 20 minutes and just let that continue to simmer.
And all you're doing is evaporating the water portion of it, and the flavor's just getting more and more intense at that point.
Concentrating.
And you could go a little bit longer if you wanted to. It's just, you just need to keep an eye on it at that point. You can also taste it here, and if you want to add more seasonings at this point, you can, but I usually go easy on the seasonings, just like when you buy a box of unsalted chicken stock or beef stock or something like that. That way you can just add it to other things.
Nope, that makes perfect sense.
Gives you more flexibility, you know.
So we're going to take the pot off the stove and remove as many of the veggies as possible with the slotted spoon.
Get these out. That way when we go to actually strain it, we don't have veggies plopping all over the place.
Plopping out, splashing, hurting ourselves. So we're going to set the strainer over a big bowl.
Got everything out.
I think you got all the big ones out of there. And then either use a cheesecloth. We're going to use a fine mesh sieve.
If you have a strainer that's like this, I would put a piece of cheesecloth in it, because that will wind up catching any of the little bits and particles of the, because you want this to be a broth, so you want it smooth. Just more smooth, where stock is a little bit thicker.
Nope, that makes a lot of sense.
Okay, you ready to hold that?
I think I'm ready.
Okay, here we go. Keep your hands back.
You can see the tops of the carrots and the herbs. Take that up.
So that wasn't too bad.
No, that's beautiful.
So this is all that was left with that, but you don't really want to be eating that just because it's already, it doesn't taste like anything at this point because it had been simmering for so long. So that's that. I'm going to move that over there.
Perfect.
Now, I'm going to move the hot pot so neither one of us will...
Gets hurt.
Yes.
Safety in the kitchen.
So you want to let this cool. This is really rocket hot at this point. I like to store them in these. These are the little takeout containers that you get wonton soup in and things like that.
You might as well just reuse them.
So I reuse them. Or you could let them cool and store them in a resealable freezer bag. Just please, double bag. From experience.
Why, Stacey? Is this from experience that you're sharing this knowledge?
When I've done sauces and I've done the soups, the bag had a breach. Yeah, and it wasn't completely frozen yet. So then
it's a two-bag job.
It's really a two-bag job. It's really a good idea. You can use your slow cooker for this. There's nothing wrong with that. It's super easy. I mean, this is quick on the stovetop if you're home and you want to be hands-on with it.
Sure.
Slow cooker, done it. Fill it with water, throw whatever I have into it, and sometimes I even slip a couple of chicken breasts in it and I let them poach in it.
That's a good idea.
4 hours, 5 hours maybe.
Yeah.
You can probably go as little as 3. And if you go a little over, it's not a panic. It's your slow cooker. It's on warm, or it's on low. And especially if you have one that has a warm setting, when it gets to that 4-hour mark or the 5-hour mark that you set and it just goes to warm, it's fine.
It's fine. It's completely fine. So I guess it all depends on your schedule, like you said.
Correct.
Awesome. So want a stock that has a roasted flavor? Sure. Let's try that. Cut and roast your scraps before and slide these into the water and simmer away. So roasting.
We have some roasted right here to show you.
So we've got mushroom.
Yep.
Both the mushroom top and the stem. Carrot, celeriac, onion?
Onion, and there's also turnip.
There is turnip in there.
Now, I know that turnip is a really strong flavor, and that's the whole thing when I talked about the brassicas with it. But the turnip, when it basically braises, so what you're doing is you're dicing up the turnip, or you're taking the peels from the turnip, and it's simmering low and slow in the water with all the other vegetables. It doesn't have that sharp flavor anymore. It's mellowing right out, and it's probably going to add a little bit of a sweetness to your stock.
Right.
So I really like that, and I love the fact that you can use the mushroom stems. I actually never even dawned on me to save mushroom stems for stock.
That is completely something new for me. Hopefully that's something new for you.
So save just about everything.
Everything.
Okay, we have roasted stock ready.
Yes, so let's take a look at that.
And we'll pour this one out as well.
Excellent.
I've fished out the larger vegetables already because we wanted to show you those.
Right.
So this still has some in it, but not the big ones.
But not all the big chunks, okay.
Now this is actually
wow.
just a little bit darker in color because the vegetables were roasted. So it's going to give you
caramelized. So you're getting the deeper color.
You're getting a deeper color, deeper
and the
flavor.
deeper flavor.
Yeah.
Nice.
Okay, want to hold?
Yeah.
Ready, Freddie?
Ready. Wow. Excellent. So you can see this is mostly little bits of onion and just any of the other little bits that didn't come out when we strained it. Beautiful the color is on that.
So it's much darker than the other one. The other thing also, if you notice, you have a little bit, that's the olive oil.
Right.
That's on top because we did toss the vegetables in olive oil before we roasted them. So if you want to skim this off, chill it, and before you freeze it or save it, it'll come to the top and you can just probably pop it right off, whatever fat is there, and that will take that away.
Easy to do.
Super easy when you do it that way with the refrigerator. I don't bother with the skimming with the spoon or anything like that. Now, if you want it spicy, simmer them with extra ginger, garlic, and then maybe some chilies or some red pepper flake, and that will just spice up the broth automatically. That's one of my favorites. And I mean, look at all this. It's all stuff that you would get rid of. It's all stuff that you can just chop and drop, throw in resealable plastic bags, pop in the freezer. And then when you're ready to make stock, and like I said, using this slow cooker is super simple. Fill it with water, take out your scraps, toss them in, let it go all day, and then you can make a soup at night. And this base can be used for just about anything.
Right.
So
I did. I put one in last night, so I'll be able to make something tonight because I did the slow cooker. So just based on scheduling, and you've got it all ready to go, and the house is going to smell really good when I get back.
So please give this a try.
Absolutely.
I mean, this is the stuff you already have at home. Make yourself some stock and then put it away, and then when you don't feel like putting the effort into cooking, you already prepared for it, so you already have it. And if you don't want to make soup, you can use this to cook rice in. You can use this to cook quinoa in.
Definitely.
You can use it as a base for a sauce. Whatever you would use box stock for, it's perfect, and it's kind of free because it's scraps you would have thrown away, and it's water, and it's your spices.
The flavor is amazing. I think once you start making your own, you're not going to want to go back to buying the boxed. Nothing wrong with it, but
it's a great backup.
It's a great backup.
It's a great backup. But so give this a try, please.
Enjoy.